Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is a very special episode of fucking Talking Shit with Eagle. I've got one of the cannabis legends with us tonight, Urban Remo. How you doing, my friend? You want to tell us how you're doing and where they can find you if they've been under a rock forever?
Hey, Eagle, thanks for having me. Actually, you can find me on YouTube. That's kind of my main thing. I'm on all social media platforms, but our main canon is YouTube. That's where we like to communicate with people, show them plants, travel, smoke weed, all that great stuff.
It's great stuff.
So, you know what? You got them. Roll them up. This is time for us to have a session, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's lunchtime here anyway,
All
so
right.
they should be smoking.
Well, when I went to school, this is what we did at lunch. Grabbed a sandwich and smoked a joint, right? School days.
Well,
Great
I guess
education.
that's a good lead in for my first question, Mr. Remo, is basically when did cannabis kind of enter your life? When was the first time your experience with cannabis? You want to share if you would?
About 1978, and friend's big brother had some weed, and we all gathered around. There was like 8 of us, and he's like, "I got a joint," and then we smoked this joint. I'm sure it was just leafy homegrown, tasted terrible, and I don't think it did anything. It could have been tea. I have no idea. It was terrible. That's my first cannabis experience. Not good. Tasted terrible. Didn't do anything. Actually, the funny thing is, my first few cannabis experiences were like that. And then I smoked hash, and then I got it. That got me high. We got to consider that cannabis when I was young was not the quality cannabis that we have now. It was bad. It was like a lot of brick weed. They call it Thai weed or Cambodian, Colombian, that kind of thing. And it was brown weed with seeds, and it was awful. And then hash came around, which was considerably better. So for the first little bit, I smoked hash until about early to mid 1980s when the cannabis started. We started growing it indoors, and skunk weed is available, and that's actually, I believe, skunk weed in my area started the indoor grow revolution, because that's what inspired me to grow.
Can I have my opinions on that? I think that was the beginning of the end for the skunk. I almost think the indoor environment killed the skunk, to be honest with you. Yeah, any thoughts on that?
Well, see, where I live, it's not that great. Like, you can grow outside, but you have to have something that finishes relatively early. And what we find is that a lot of our farmers started growing indoors in the 80s, and including myself. And I found the quality of cannabis you can grow indoors to be considerably better than outside. But more than that, you can have fresh cannabis year round, which is very beneficial. I'd rather smoke fresh cannabis than old cannabis. But there was a huge price difference in the cannabis that was available. You can get that brown weed. I remember it used to go for like $20 an eighth, or you can get that skunk weed that was indoor grown, that stunk like you wouldn't believe, and it was sticky and gooey, and that was $40 an eighth. And we're talking in the 80s. So it's kind of weird the way cannabis started off expensive, got really cheap, got expensive, and then now it's cheap again. It's just weird. Like, I don't know, the cannabis market here crashed. On the legacy market, we call it, the black market, there's pounds available for $500 of quality cannabis, which is just unheard of. It's almost like Jamaica or something, because I remember buying weed in Jamaica for 150 a pound, some better stuff for 300. Terrible pricing. Good for if you're a consumer. But what I do is I encourage people to grow their own. That's the best way, really, at the end of the day. But it's not just the legacy producers that have overproduced in my country. It's the legal producers. There's these giant LPs and micros as well. And I had a stat from somebody that's inside the cannabis industry, or the legal cannabis industry that sells weed. And they're telling me 80% of the cannabis I was growing last year did not sell. So if you can imagine these giant vaults with tons and tons of weed, and it's a perishable product. It's not like it's getting better unless you're going to make an extract out of it right away, or an isolate or a distillate. It kind of goes to waste, goes downhill. So kind of a strange predicament here. We overgrew cannabis in Canada, which is good, I guess, or bad at the same time. I don't know. Depends how you look at it. But I heard the same thing happened in Washington State and in Oregon when it became legal. The I-502s, they grew a lot of cannabis, and the price, not for the consumers, but at the wholesale level, went down to like $2 to $3 a gram. Because I believe in Washington State, the way it works, there's 3 levels. They have what the gardener gets paid, with the processor, kind of the middleman, and then the retailer. But you can't own all 3. You can only have 2 of the 3. Kind of weird, eh?
Yeah, that's the way they kind of got it set up here in Michigan, and it's a weird system.
Yeah,
and I hope it doesn't get that low though. Ooh.
But in Oregon, then I heard horror stories of $59 ounces for sale at dispensaries, and not bad weed. So that's kind of horrifying. But on the other side of the coin, when I went to Los Angeles and I went to Colorado, I remember Colorado, if you wanted an eighth of the cookies weed that was top shelf, deadly stuff, it was $70 US. And if you want quality weed in Los Angeles at one of those really boutique dispensaries, they're charging $300 an ounce. So it depends where you go. I experienced the same thing in Amsterdam. If you go to some of the better clubs, let's say the Plug, for example, it'll cost you 25 to 35 euros for a gram. So that translates into Canadian dollars, like $50 a gram. Ouch. But the quality is assured. It's really good quality. It's top shelf. But I think it's kind of like champagne, or it's like whiskey or any quality alcohol. People pay a little more for a better bottle of booze. I think the same exists for cannabis. If you want the better buds, not the mids, not some old stale stuff that has no terpenes. There's going to be a different price structure for all that kind of stuff.
Hopefully, at that point, they had bottlenecked all the genetics down to where there's still some outstanding stuff available there for that boutique purchases there. That's what I'm kind of afraid of with legal cannabis, is they're going to try to want to bottleneck the strains down to where they can just mass produce maybe 20 or so.
Well, it's funny you say that. Currently, right now, I'm licensing. Actually, I've already passed my security clearance, and I have a farm close to my house that we're setting up a greenhouse. But I've been on the road for almost 20 years, going to different festivals and different conferences and stuff like that. And I've been collecting genetics the whole time. So I've accumulated about 600 different strains. I also breed. I have a breeding chamber here at my house. So I've been making strains all along here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Remo Farms up, and we're going to offer clones and seeds, plants, whatever you want, to the public, legally too. Not we're getting the proper paperwork. We're going to do this legally. We'll supply micros, LPs, personal growers, medical growers, anybody that wants them, we got them. And by doing this, what I'm hoping to do is I'd like to see a lot more variety on our market, and so people have more choices. And also, we're willing to do custom breeding jobs. If there's somebody wants a unique strain, if they're a micro and they have a fire strain and I have a fire strain, we'll put them together and we'll do a pheno hunt together and generate something new, right? But awesome. I figure I can bundle this all together with my nutrient company as well. And then we're also going to try to sell cannabis out of this location. It's something brand new. That was my intention when we started this farm. They're allowing farm to table, so we're allowed to sell 250,000 grams a year from my farm. So I think we might explore that. I've never tried selling legal cannabis, so there we go. Kind of we're changing times, right? But currently, just so you know, I want to make this abundantly clear to anybody. We have no cannabis for sale online or otherwise, and there seems to be other people, fake accounts, and they're trying to convince you that they're me and trying to sell you weed. If you want weed, come see me. I will give it to you for free. Don't sell weed online. But soon we'll have a farm that you can come to, and I'll smoke a joint with you. Up to 250,000 grams. I don't know how long that'll last.
That's pretty awesome. I hope that dream comes to fruition very soon there. Well, so when did you when did grow come into your life? Well, I guess let's go there. When was the first time you sank some of them seeds or clone into the dirt or whatever and made the dream possible? When did you start that?
1988. I moved out from my parents' house, and my girlfriend got a place. And first thing I did was start a closet grow. And every night when I come home from work, I play with the plants, and you know how it goes. It expands. Next thing you got 2 lights, and next thing you know, we moved out of the master bedroom, and this thing's taking the master bedroom over, and we're sleeping in the other room. And it just progressed from there. But it's really strange. I was more a small closet, you know, like maybe a couple bulbs grower, and then I had a car accident in the early 80s. And I broke my back and my neck, and I was on all kinds of medication, and I kept going to my back to my doctor. I said, hey, this is terrible, you know. Yeah, I keep taking all these pills you're giving me, but they're making me feel worse. And he goes, okay, we'll try these ones and these ones, and he gave me another pile of weird pills and muscle relaxants, and I wasn't enjoying any of that. And then I remember going back, and he gave me these other things. They're in strips, and I said, "What are these?" And he goes, "Oh, those are Ativans, and you take these things, you put them under your tongue, and they're going to make you less just depressed about taking all these pills." And I'm like, "Oh no." Okay, so I take these things home, and I didn't enjoy that either. I think they kind of had a zombie effect on me. I didn't feel good about it. So I went back and I said to my doctor, I said, you know what, all these pills just make me feel like shit. And he goes, well, you know what's happening in California right now? People are calling it medical marijuana. They're treating various ailments with it. And, you know, maybe this might work for you. It doesn't work for everybody, but, you know, maybe this might work for you. And I said, you know, he said, you smoke a little bit of weed. And I said, yeah, I smoke it occasionally. And he goes, well, smoke a lot of it, because he goes, that's the answer. So I went home and I immediately expanded my grow, started growing a lot of weed, started trying to smoke as much as I could. I was like between a half ounce and an ounce a day, and I was getting some relief. And I managed to get myself off all the pills, which is great. And my doctor actually supported me in this. And this was all good until I got busted for growing cannabis. And what I did is, I don't remember badly, but it was just before I was supposed to harvest too. They came over, I was at work, and there was like 35 plants, there were a couple lights, and you know, this is the big one. They took it out, and I didn't get any of that, and I was really disappointed. So I hired a lawyer and I fought it. And this is the funny thing, I won. I got an absolute discharge, and a lot of patients, because I fought it on the basis that it was my medical marijuana. There was no medical marijuana provisions for Canadians in place yet. So it was great. And during the time waiting to go to court, I applied for a medical marijuana license and got one. It was very difficult to get, but I got one, which made it even funnier, because when I went to court, I got an absolute discharge. And then many people that were in the same predicament as me that grew cannabis for health reasons that got busted were able to use that to get out of the predicament. So I'm actually proud of that. Absolute discharge. It can't be done. You can't fight the system. The problem is a lot of people, they'll rather make a deal and say, oh, it's cheaper if I just make a deal. And it's, you know, when something's wrong, fight it. And that's actually I stood up a couple times like that. But yeah, cannabis is a very an issue that's very close to my heart. And I'm a lifetime smoker. It's obvious. And I continue to grow to this day, and I'm probably one of the few people in Canada that are expanding while everybody else is kind of doing the opposite or turning the lights off.
Oh, you're still growing some amazing plants. Man, I've seen some buds bigger than my heads come out of your grow, my friend.
Oh
You're
yeah,
growing some amazing plants up there.
That was a great series of videos we did. That was the beginning of Remo Nutrients, the buds the size of your head series. And yeah, that actually sold a lot of nutrients. And better yet, we had the folks from Damian Abrams from Vice came over, and they did a episode and included me in an episode of Vice. And they showed off my garden, which was like right at the beginning of Remo Nutrients was best free marketing ever. If you can get on television and you can get buds like footballs on television, they filmed my plant and everything. Oh my God, what a favor. And then they had me heavy rotation in the Ontario market. They had a clip of me opening the door, revealing these giant buds, and you know, I even said a line at that point. I said, "The future's so bright, you got to wear shades." And it was a Vice kind of commercial teaser, free advertising for it. It was awesome. Thank you, Vice. Anytime anybody from Vice wants a free bag of weed, come on over. I got one for you. Well, that's another cool thing about legalization in Canada. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. We're allowed to gift off our rec plants 30 grams to anybody we want, up to 30 grams. And we're allowed to put that in the mail and say, mail it across the country. And that's legal. You're not breaking any laws. And I'm glad actually they have a provision for sharing, because they probably seen what cannabis patients do. Cannabis patients have a tendency to take care of each other and share their weed with each other. It's, sharing is caring, right? So the fact that they've, built that in to the rec model, it's beautiful. I love it. But our legalization's not perfect by any means. There's, it still needs a lot of tuning up. A lot of people aren't happy, but I figure this is a starting point. You got to start somewhere. The fact that we have federal legalization it's kind of mind blowing. I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime. I'm allowed to go on the airplane with my medical amount, which is like 150 grams, plus an additional 180 grams. I have to put in my carry-on luggage and carry it on the plane with my vaporizers, bongs, or whatever else I'm carrying. And it goes through the scanning machine too. This is the other hilarious thing. It'll go through and it just comes up the other end. They don't even give a shit. That's where we've got here in Canada. But don't bring a bottle of water. They'll pull you to the side and they'll rip everything open. All the water. But bong, cool. Bong.
Seems
bong,
like
the G at the end. Okay? Just making it abundantly clear.
Seems like a pretty amazing system. It'd be pretty cool to gift a friend just through the mail, or just be able to take care of patients here in Michigan. Of course, we're caregivers, and it would be nice to just be able to throw it in the mail, save a lot of road work. It'd be awesome.
Well, this is the funny thing in Canada. A lot of the LPs, they use that as a delivery system. So, in essence, Canada Post is one of the biggest drug delivery systems in the world, which is awesome. Hats off to Canada Post. And the funny thing is I would say the packages make it, and they have a really good track record, like 99% of the time. I've had packages that arrived here because I do this show called Marijuana Monday, where we review cannabis and different strains, and people send weed to me. And sometimes it arrives very smelly, strong scent of cannabis. But they put that in a little angry note about it, but they still deliver it. They don't confiscate it. That's how you know we're living in a brave new world, right? I think they want you to buy their scent free envelopes that they sell for, I think they're $6 or $8 or something like that. They just want to make a buck off it, probably. Yeah.
Even at that, I'd be happy to pay it just because of just because of it all. It'd be worth giving them the $6 just for the delivery's sake.
Yeah.
So when you after you won there, it obviously started to carve out your cannabis journey. Did you think it would take you to where you are today? I mean, cannabis is obviously taking you around the world. You've seen some amazing stuff. Did you think that, that's where it would take you?
No, to be honest with you, no. This wasn't my intention at the beginning. It just kind of happened. Everything just came together. The planets aligned, and here we are. It's bizarre. Remo Nutrients. We started it almost 7 years ago, and we've marketed it entirely with YouTube and, well, the other social media platforms as well. But YouTube's been our main canon, and we're available in 41 different countries now. It's crazy. 60 licensed producers across Canada use our products. Our products are approved for growing medical cannabis and cannabis in Canada by a Canadian Food Inspection Agency in Health Canada. It's mind blowing. Our vegan program has one of the lowest heavy metals tests in the entire industry. I don't know, but it's the holy grail. We've actually won Nutrient Company of the Year 4 times now. which is mind blowing to me, but you know what it is? It's, I guess, there's like 250 other nutrient companies, on the face of the earth. And, I looked at a lot of the better ones, and I figured we could make a better product. And that's what we did.
Definitely a great product, that's for sure. Uh, so, um, after that grow there, when did it kind of step up? I mean, you kind of said it immediately stepped up, but uh, how? You know what I mean? Did you go from a bigger, like a warehouse grow? I mean, how did it progress from pre-court to after-court grow? I mean,
Well, it's kind of funny is I started getting a reputation of helping other medical growers out, and soon I found myself running a medical marijuana program for a different company, not mine. I have my own now, my own medical marijuana program where we grow for people, and we give them plants, clones, and resources. Whatever we can do so that they can grow their own cannabis. I find that's part of the healing is actually growing, getting up every day, caring for a plant. If you've got a really bad disease like cancer or HIV or something serious or MS, the growing part of it can be very therapeutic as well. And then you know what you're getting as well. You're very, in control of your destiny, and it takes your mind off of the bad stuff. I know a lot of the people during the pandemic, because we've seen it with our numbers, we had a 100% increase in business as soon as people went on the lockdown because you're at home, there's nothing to do. What better thing to do for your mental health and to get a big pile of cannabis, which also helps your mental health, than grow cannabis? So yeah, a lot of home growers started growing, which God bless them, is great. I stayed home and grew weed too, but I already did that, so less exciting for me. But another thing we offer to all the new home growers. I know a lot of the American companies can't do this because it's not federally legal yet, but here in Canada, we have a customer service line. It's 1-855 Remo, and you can call anytime from 8:30 to 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, and we will answer all your questions about Remo nutrients, growing cannabis. We will use cannabis because I know in the United States, unfortunately, the companies can't really talk about it. We can share our resources with you. We're okay with doing that, especially if you're medical. So feel free to give us a call. Actually, if you if you have a plant problem and you want to send some pictures, just email us, and we have no problem with having our team look at them and make suggestions and do what we can. We got to help one another, right? That's how we're going to raise the bar of this industry. We're going to make everybody a better grower. We want to see everybody grow great cannabis, and I think it's totally possible.
it is totally possible. The plant is easy to grow, very resilient, and I'm very much on board with you on the cultivation side of things. I talk about that quite a bit myself. I think it's very much is not, if not more, therapeutic than the cannabis itself. To be honest with you, that one-on-one time with your plants. Uh, there's a lot to be said about that. I think it heals you as a person. PTSD. There's just something about going in there and just, even if your mind's spinning as fast as it can, there's soon as you gaze into those plants, your mind tends to slow right down, and it just takes you to another place. And I think that's one of the greatest benefits of the plant. Not to mention, as you more and more you cultivate, it kind of cultivates you. You want to do better by the plant. You dig deeper into wanting to know the workings of the plant, how to grow the plant. So it's a powerful part of cannabis, is the cultivation side. And so I just kind of wanted to say, I appreciate the fact, as far as like owning a nutrient company, I have a lot of respect for you because you do walk the walk. You know what I mean? And that's very respectable. I think people right off the get, I think that's one of the people that kind of drew people to your nutrient lineup is you had very much a good video record of your growing history and what you were capable of. So when you offered, this is how I do it and this is what I could be used in, I could see people wanting to jump all over that. So I got a ton of respect for you for walking the walk, my friend.
Thanks, Eagle. I appreciate that. I found a lot of my counterparts in the nutrient world, they're very corporate and they don't even smoke cannabis or grow it or know anything about it. So, and this even, I find this in the legal growing world, what we call licensed producers and LPs in Canada. A lot of them are very corporate and, they might have smoked a joint or smoke a joint here and there. They're, not real cannabis people. And that's one of the tragedies of the whole legalization in Canada, that basically big business took over legal cannabis, which there's a bunch of people that were medical growers and home growers that fought to have this plant legalized, and when it got legalized basically got forgotten about. So it's actually that's part of the reason that I'm throwing my hat in the ring as well. So if I can go through the process and learn all the ins and outs and how to do it, and I can direct people to do it, because currently they have consultants in Canada and they'll charge you $60,000 or $80,000 on consulting on how to get through the whole thing, but they don't guarantee that you're going to get to the end. It's a very difficult process, but I think all these licensed producers have done it wrong. They've made these giant farms that they couldn't control because they've never really grown cannabis. Because cannabis doesn't really scale up to 7 acres, say, well, very difficult. Not saying that can't be done, but you need a very good big team to get it done. So the ones that seem to be really killing it in Canada are the guys that are, the 20%. Remember saying 80% doesn't sell. 20% guys that are doing small batches, small rooms. They'll have 50 lights in the room only, up to 50 lights. They'll only grow a few hundred plants, and they'll put more care into the plants, because when you're growing a room with 200 lights and 5,000 plants, things can get out of control pretty quickly, and they're very limited on what they can do to control, say, mites or mildew. They're not allowed to use any nasty stuff. Thank goodness, because it's actually healthier for the people. So it's an interesting situation. So the guys that are killing it are the small batch people. So if we can get through the process and learn how to do it, we can help some of our customers come out of the black market or legacy market and come into the white market, even though it's oversaturated. But I think what they should do to correct this program is they should limit the size of these licenses, maybe, because right now once you're an LP, there's no limit, and you can be as big as you want, which is insane. They should cap it. It would really it would help. It would give more people the opportunities to grow cannabis. That's what I think, things are going to get worse before they get better in this market. It's absolutely bizarre. And I think some of the smaller growers that grow absolute killer weed are going to get crushed by these bigger companies. I don't know if you've ever heard of Canopy. They're owned by Constellation Brands, which has Corona beer. They're mega. They are so big and they have so much money. Even if they crash that company, they can withstand the storm, and they have the strength to actually crush smaller producers. So it's scary. So I can see why a lot of these growers are afraid to get in, but I think it's the time to do it, because eventually they may even limit the number of legal growers there are, which would be a tragedy, and then there won't be any opportunity for these brilliant people to grow cannabis. So I'm kind of a libertarian. I figure everybody should be their own company and have their own cannabis and be their own economy and be in control of their own destiny instead of working for somebody. Because if they really limit everything, well, then you got to go work for one of these big guys. And I'm not really for that. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, Eagle.
Oh man, I love the fact that you're still using the term "big guy." Gives me a lot of hope there. Yeah, I do believe that there should be something set into place to give us little guys a foothold anyway. I think the system is set up to let make the industry come in at some point. And you know what's funny is I say this all the time. There's the cannabis industry, which are the home growers and cultivators and people that do it because they love it and they have a relationship for the plant. And then there's the cannabis industry that are people that doesn't necessarily use the plant, even have any kind of bond with it, but want to back and make money off it. I think there's a definite fine line there. That may be the big guys, as you're kind of saying, but yeah, I think last night again, I hear it all the time. All these people that have the dream that want to have the big farm and cultivate for a living are meant to hurdle through these hurdles until they're really meant to say, Uncle, you know what I mean? I've depleted everything I've got. I still want to live the dream. I'm 3/4 of the way there. Yeah, I guess I'll let you have a piece. You know what I mean? Help me out, get me over the finish line. I think it's kind of set up that way, to be honest with you. They know they don't want to do the dirty work to grow whatever, so they've kind of put the system in place so they have a place later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very disheartening.
Well, actually, the scariest thing that's ever happened to cannabis, I think, and this is my opinion, because I've been around, smoking cannabis and growing cannabis since the 80s, is the advent of giant publicly traded cannabis companies. Because if you see what they did before legalization here in Canada, and this might happen, this is probably going to happen in America as well, in the United States, is that these companies will emerge and they're going to sell all these, false dreams, let's call them. They're going to say, hey, you're going to make so much money, and all the money to be made, it's free front end loads at the beginning. And then so what was happening is people were making tons of money off trading stock. Then the day it became legalized, things changed. And then all the cannabis stocks became a horrible investment. People lost their shirts. And currently, right now, I think cannabis stocks, most of them don't have a good reputation in Canada. It's crazy. But these people, literally these stock people, they took advantage of mom and pop, took their money, and now they're got a bunch of worthless shares. And a lot of that went on. And then that's a crime. Those are criminals. Those people should be in jail. But, it's just unacceptable. But, I guess that's part of the game. It's a shame. It kind of mind blowing because I know people that invested in cannabis with high hopes, and as soon as it became legal, well, they should have got out. They didn't. They held on and lost a lot of money. So this will happen in America because it's not federally legal yet. So I don't know how many cannabis companies are trading in America. There's a few, I think, but it's not like Canada. So that's don't invest in publicly traded cannabis. Just so you know, we're a private company and we're owned by friends and family, and that's it. And that's the way to do it.
And again, I respect the fact of how you run your establishment, how you've came up through the ranks. It gives a lot of us hope. You know what I mean? That it is possible. Again, same gentleman last night, man. He was talking about how hard it was going to be to make it through that last hurdle, and I'm thinking to myself, really, you're still giving the rest of us hope. You know what I mean? I appreciate you coming on and telling me the struggle, but man, it's nice to see there's some of us that still have to fight. You know what I mean? To make it all happen. And you're right. You do kind of keep it family oriented. That's what we were talking about again last night. That's only one of the few bright sides I see about legal cannabis, is being able to kind of keep it more family orientated, perhaps even turn it to the next generation at some point, keep it in the family. That's one of the few things that I see. I'm hopeful about legal cannabis.
Well, it's funny to say that. My son, Michael, who's 22 years old, He's trying to grow the mustache to take my spot. But my partners include my wife, Sandra, Mrs. Grower, my son-in-law, Joel, my daughter, Rebecca. We're all in. This is like a real family company. And I have one other daughter we're trying to entice to come over. She's really good with internet stuff. And maybe one day we'll have the whole family here, but we're pretty close. But you know what the thing is, if you're going to make a bunch of money, would you rather share it with your family or a bunch of strangers? I think sharing it with people you love is probably the way to go. So, tip for anybody out there, share it. And also, when if something happens to you, they can keep the ball rolling. So it's because I am a med patient too, and from time to time, I go down. I get pinched nerves on my back, and I'm bedridden. So, thank God for my son. He'll water my plants and help me out. It's a good thing. So, be good to your family.
Man, that definitely good points. That's for sure. And then we were talking about that again last night, bringing the family, or, when we can bring the family in, kind of looking back before cannabis, we were talking about that transition, because a lot of people feel guilty for some reason or another when they kind of take off the nail bags and want to start towards the cannabis dream, I guess you could say, trying to not even get rich, but just get by. You know what I mean? Not necessarily have to work that 14-hour day and just be depleted when you get home. It'd be nice to where we can all get to something like you're talking about there, to where it is 100% family orientated. Like I kind of said, man, the days when I did the 14-hour days just to kind of get my children, a material possession. You know what I mean? I look back now and think, man, I would much rather than sitting there.
It's actually worse.
Sitting there.
It's 7 days a week now. Now it's because you grow cannabis, it's a 7-day-a-week commitment. It becomes a lifestyle. But if you do what you enjoy and you love it, it doesn't seem like work, right? You just do it. Do what you enjoy. If you hate it, it's a chore. It's because those long days aren't going to go away, especially if you're a cannabis cultivator. They're still there. I got to be with my plants at the beginning of the cycle, middle of the cycle, and then towards the end of the cycle, just to make sure everything's okay. But if you take that kind of care with your plants, you'll grow better cannabis. So, gold in, gold out, right? Yeah. But you know what? It's different this is the difference, Eagle. When you're doing it for yourself, as opposed to working for, say, the man, it's totally different. When you're doing it for yourself, you feel like you're progressing. You feel the movement forward. When you're working for somebody else, or you're just working in a warehouse, or one of these meaningless jobs, it's just like you feel like you're getting nowhere. I know, I've done it. Yeah, do what you love, man. Sorry to interrupt you, man.
Oh, no, you're the guest, brother. I'm curious, even when you were talking about your first grow there, and what did Remo do before cannabis? I'm a little curious.
There was no real before cannabis. I think cannabis has always been a part of my life. I smoked cannabis at an early age, and when I found hash, I pretty much started smoking that stuff every day. I became an everyday smoker pretty much as of grade 8, and haven't really stopped. I started smoking more. That's the only thing. When I discovered that cannabis was medicine, because what we've been told, we had the programming that it was bad for you, and it was killing brain cells and make you impotent and shorten your life, and it was 10 times one joint was equivalent to 10 cigarettes, and blah blah blah. They told us all these lies, and then it comes out later in the 90s that, hey, now it's medicine. Before, the stuff that we're telling you that was a gateway drug and it was trying to kill you is now good for you. Kind of funny, right? But I think I knew early on that it was good for you, because I like getting high every day. on that one.
I think we have. Cheers, man. You smoke some monster joints. So I guess what I was asking was, what was the 9 to 5 before cannabis kind of took over the full time?
I was a concrete finisher. I was in construction, because I'm Italian, so that's naturally we're good at concrete apparently. So I was really good at this. I was a journeyman cement finisher. I smoked cannabis a lot because after it's very physical, make me feel better, but not to the degree that I smoke it now. I'd smoke a couple joints a day, and then I went to smoking like an ounce a day, which is is a real commitment. You should see my ashtray. It tells a story, right? Actually, I should show it to you. This is funny. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I actually am looking forward to seeing this.
You know you're a stoner when your ashtray looks like this.
It looks like a measurement tool. A sundial almost. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, there's something else I should share with you, Eagle. During this whole pandemic, a lot of time on my hands, and I wasn't traveling. So me and my friends got together and we recorded a CD.
I seen that.
Actually, here, I'll show you.
That.
It's called Mega Stoner, is the name of the band, and the CD name is Super High. It's all that kind of 80s metal. Here, I'll open one up. This thing's fresh. It was a fun project. The guitar player, Mango, we put it up on Reverb Nation, and we climbed to number 2. There's our band. Bunch of stoners, right? Really fun project. I think we're gonna go back to the studio and make some more stuff. It was a lot of fun to do. Lot better than sitting around doing nothing, let me tell you. But,
that's awesome. How long has music been a part of your life? How long you been jamming out?
Since high school. I've been in half a dozen different bands, and this is actually one of the best bands I've ever been in my life. The singer, Dana, he actually comes from another band called Arcane Sugar, and they won a Juno Award, which is kind of like a Grammy Award in our country. He's a really good singer. Guitar player, was a lead guitar player from a band called Chrome, and I think in 2009 they had number 2 hit. Drummer Scott Aquino, unbelievable drummer. He's played with pretty much everybody, which is very cool. And he's one of those guys that are in like 3 or 5 bands at a time. So he always has time for Megastone, which is cool. I'm glad he makes time for us. He's very talented, but it was kind of it was weird how it just all came together, and next thing you know, we're making an album. It's a lot of fun though. I recommend it. Really keeps your just like growing something. Making a CD is very similar to growing. You watch it kind of grow, and you're writing these songs, and what you begin with sometimes is not what you finish with. It just kind of morphs and gets a life of its own. A lot of fun though. It was a good way to actually take some of the boredom and get rid of it. But we smoked a lot of weed writing this album, so it's very stoner, and all the songs are about cannabis. So it's a lot of fun. Mega Stoner,
man.
Not in store, not in sale at Walmart or any stores. Usually I just give them away at trade shows.
Oh no, man. So how did they get it if they were curious on wanting to get a copy of it?
They what?
If they wanted to grab a copy of it, how they get a copy of it?
Well, you know what's funny is that eventually, because I'm working on this farm thing, and this is probably going to come together sooner than I think, I want to be able to offer seeds or a joint with the CD and sell it in that way. So that's why I'm kind of holding back, because nobody's ever actually legally done that. So I don't know if I have to say it's a free CD with the seeds, or the seeds are free with CD. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We have the legal department to work on it, and that's how we're going to market Megastone. Wouldn't that be awesome if you got us, in Canada? I don't think we can do that internationally yet, but in Canada, you order a CD and you get a joint with it, or you order a joint and get a CD, vice versa, whatever, or seeds. I don't know. Seeds have been traditionally sent in the mail with one of these, so I don't think I'm reaching that far here. Especially with a picture of a big bud on it. Well, the bud on the front is the strain I created myself. That's Wedding Frost. So what it is, it's a pheno of that I've chosen. We took frosted fruitcakes, which is Fruity Pebbles OG by Wedding Cake. And we took that frosted fruitcake and we crossed it again with Wedding Cake, but I used a reversal spray, making the frosted fruitcake the donor of the pollen. And then we took the seeds off that Wedding Cake and made that. My whole intention was to, because I really like the frosted fruitcake. It's my favorite cannabis. I love the structure of the Wedding Cake. So if we can get some of that frosted fruitcake, sweet, cereal flavor into that, I think we have a winner, and I think we achieved that. Fun project. Soon to be.
How long have you?
So currently, people come up to me. I just give them the seeds. They're not for sale. They're free gifts until we can legally do it.
How long have you been dabbling in the breeding aspect of cannabis?
Oh, I've played with breeding on and off for a couple decades. Actually, the first offering that we've ever done, this was an experiment a number of years ago. We got together with Dynafem Seeds of Spain, and I shared with them what we call the Remo Chemo. And so what that was UBC Chemo Kush by Bubba Kush. And the Bubba Kush was from Greenhouse Seeds. And I made this cross, and I shared it with them. And at that time, I kept going to the Cannabis Cup. I was going to Europe every year. And I would find a lot of sativas and hazes. So I figured if I give them something indica to play with, people start growing that. And I was right. So I'd go to Amsterdam or go to Spain, and people come to me and go, "Hey, I got the Remo Chemo here. Check it out." And they would give me my own weed and be like, "Yeah, looks like it. Cool. Thanks." So it was a very cool project, but it was more about sharing genetics. The funny thing is, I compare that to the strains that are available today. And, you look at what in-house genetics, exotic genetics has got. They got some crazy stuff. Like, I don't know if you ever smoked Meat Breath from Thug Pug. Holy cow, that's some crazy weed. There's some amazing cannabis available. If you look at all the strains that are enjoyed now, we got like Gelato 33, Dosido 22. A lot of these newer strains, they are so terpy compared to the old stuff. The funny thing is recently I went to Thailand, and man, just so you know, Thailand's got just as good a weed as we got. Because what they do is they see on the internet what we're growing and what we're smoking, and they order the seeds of the same genetics that we got from California or from wherever, and they arrive. They see whatever nutrients we're using, and they can order that on Amazon. Same with the lights and all that crap. They get it to their house. They set up their tent or grow room or whatever they're doing, and they're able, and they can get information from the internet quite easily. It's very readily available. And they can grow like top shelf cannabis, just like what we got here. So much better in Jamaica. I couldn't believe it. Was mind blowing. So I don't know where I was going with this whole Thailand thing. Man, what a mind blowing place though. Beautiful. But they got great cannabis there. Who knew? I avoided Thailand because I was kind of afraid. I heard stories that if you go there and you smoke a joint, you can go to jail and all this bad stuff happens. I go there and they announced legalization on my trip. I couldn't believe it. It's amazing. But we got to meet a lot of amazing Thai growers. Shout out to Pi. Hopefully you see this. Helped a lot when we were in Thailand. I was a translator and hung out with us and went to many dinners. And we enjoyed many joints together. Very cool guy. Shout out to Pi.
It is an interesting market emerging over there. Again, kind of relating back to Vice. I was just watching. I don't want to.
Now I remember. You just made me think about why I was bringing up Thailand. Okay, some of the first weed I ever smoked, as a youngster, was Thai weed, and I remember getting this brick shit, and it had this weird plasticine smell, and had this particular taste. So when we're in Thailand, we're getting all this beautiful bud, and I said, I want to smoke some of that original brick weed, and they're like, are you sure this is really good weed here? And I was like, no, I want to experience the original stuff. And they're like, okay. So this one guy got me some brick weed. It was cut off a big brick, and he got me a chunk. And I except now it's greener. It's not brown or black. And I smelt it. It has that same Thai smell that I remembered when I was a little kid. And I broke it up. Now the Thai weed is not loaded with seeds because they figured out how to pull the males, thank God. So I'm breaking it up. The friend I was with, Clint, I said, hey, you want to smoke this with me? He's like, not a chance. I'm like, okay. So I roll up like a big log similar to this one here. And I light it up. I smoke about half of it. It was the worst weed I smoked ever. It was terrible. And that went in the ashtray and back with the good weed. But I had to do it because I was there. But that's actually why I started smoking hash. It was that bad. Terrible. But that's how much cannabis has progressed from that point of time. We're talking circa early 80s to now. Like they're growing, they had this stuff called birthday funk. Oh my God. Absolutely insane. Like top shelf. It was like, between a 9 and a 10, I would say, in my opinion. It's fantastic. Compared to that Thai weed, a 50. But that's where cannabis keeps getting better. I like the direction it's going. The only thing I don't like is this corporate side of it. It's terrible. But you know what? One thing I can say,
pretty high mark to get from Remo. You get between a 9 and a 10 for Remo. That's got to be some quality cannabis. I would have to think, man. It'd be a spot on market.
That's funny because we get so many because we review cannabis for Marijuana Monday. We get so many samples in during a week. Michael, my son, and I just try to pick the best of the best, which is really hard because sometimes it's all killer. So people wonder, all the weed you can't get is can't be a 9 or a 10. Well, when you get like 20 samples in a week, it's pretty easy to pick a 9 or a 10 out of that. And they usually send enough that we could smoke it a couple times to compare it with the other samples. So it's first world problems. Thanks to all the people that send the samples. And if I see it, I got some cannabis for you too. We'll exchange, of course, right? We'll smoke one of mine.
Yeah, that could be worse. D Zombie in chat wanted to know if the Karma Cup happens, will you be there?
Will I be there? If they're gonna have a real Karma Cup, I think it's tradition. I'll totally go. I think that's one of the premier cannabis events in Canada. Actually, I got my first judging kit of the year. Can I share that with you?
Yeah, please.
It just arrived the other day.
It's funny. Can I share? I think we all want to get in a little as much of a Remo's personal life as we can, man. You can share as much shit as you want to share. Remo.
I got this from Gastown. Comes in a nice black box. Cool judge's kit. And he is calling this the Sofino Hunt Cup 2022. Sofino Hunt Cup. So what's in here is there's number of extracts. Actually, here, this one's in the package. I can show. Oh, there's the camera. And let's open it up. See what kind of fire Gastown's got. You see that? I'm bad at this.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is. Smells pretty good. But there's a bunch of samples here as well that I have to smoke and judge. I know. We all bear across this. There's all these different samples. Whoa, where's the camera? Actually, that one looks really nice. You see that?
Yeah, I can.
Here's another one. Oh, it's the other way. Mimosa. So I'm going to shoot a video, I think, later with my son, and we'll put this online. We'll show all the samples. That'll be some fun.
Oh yeah, that's a nice, nice little kid there.
Yeah, thanks for the judge's kit, Dave. And we'll get right on that.
So a lot of people grow. I could you even put a number on how many different cultivars you've sampled through your life? It's got to be up there by now. I mean, most of us be lucky to sample maybe 100, couple hundred at best, but you gotta. I'm willing to bet you put your hands on 1,000 easy.
Probably easily thousands. We've documented hundreds easily on Marijuana Monday, but there's far more samples coming in than we film. Actually, for a while we started doing Testing Tuesday, or Toking Tuesday, pardon me. Testing Tuesday is when we test the cannabis. Toking Tuesday, because we had so much cannabis, there's a lot of guys that weren't getting the spotlight. They should have got the spotlight, so we'd show that as well. It was good. And then I don't know, as of lately, we've been getting overrun with hash samples. We got so much hash coming in. Hash to me is kind of like I said, it was the original thing I started smoking when I began my cannabis journey. And it's become kind of the forgotten concentrate because everybody's into waxes or into diamonds and sauces or shatter, which is I think a lot stronger. But there's a different experience when you smoke hash, because it's usually there's whole plant material usually in it, so you have a different smoking, more body stone that comes from it. Where you smoke a lot of these diamonds and shatter, get more kind of a head buzz going on. But I think smoking hash is still therapeutic. And smoking some of the good hash, let's say from Morocco, I don't know if you go to Spain at all, but usually when you go to Spain, there seems to be a lot of Moroccan hash, and smoking the original stuff. It brings me back to that time machine, to the 80s, when we'd smoke pretty much the exact same hash. And it was a great experience, good times. But we've been getting overrun with hash, so another first world problem. So I've been smoking that. And the funny thing is there's not many shows on the internet about hash. It's all about weed, or it's all about shatter. It's not about hash. So I think we need to bring hash back and let the younger people share the hash with the younger people and let them know that there's this product out there, because hash is a lot more compact. You can have a gram of hash and have a little pipe, do a few tokes in a little pipe, and you get very high. It doesn't smell as much as weed. It's a little more convenient for piping, I would say. But you can always add hash to a joint and supercharge, right? One day we'll have a supercharged joint, I think, on the market. One day. Not now. It's not out there now. Unless you come see me.
Hopefully soon. I agree. It's nice that we have that in common as well, man. I enjoy good hash. Water hash is my preferred method to make hash. I do dry sift from time to time. Again, I think there's a difference. I can't figure it out between them two methods right there. I think a dry sift hash can be more, again, a little bit more on the heady side of things, to where a bubble or water extraction seems to be a more body high, like you're saying. And at least the fad here in the States, and I'm sure I'm telling you nothing here, is to take that that bubble and to press it into rosin. And I'm always so
Yeah.
disheartened to see it taken to that last phase. I'm like, it's perfect the way it is. Why do you have to, one more time? If you wanted the rosin, just squish the flower. You've taken the time to extract an amazing product as it is. Why do you have to, go squish it for, to get
That's how you
refined
achieve the
whatnot?
next level. Totally legal. That's how you
Yeah.
the next level. You know what? I've seen guys, they make that beautiful, it looks like beach sand, bubble hash. And I agree with you. At that point, it's beautiful to smoke. But well, I got a couple friends that take it from that point and they put it into what do you call it? A dehydrator? Not what is that?
Oh, freeze dryer.
Freeze dryer. And they put it into that for 24 hours and it comes out and then they squish that. And yeah, that makes some pretty nice looking stuff. Like, it's just amazing. Like, it looks like it's almost like diamonds. Pretty nice. And you're doing that, with no solvents. So that's like the exciting part of it. Because I know a lot of people like BHO and that, but I don't think the studies have been done. I don't know if that's the healthiest choice. And how can you go wrong with water? Water's great. It is, it works. But I understand the yield's a lot less with water. You get less, but it's I think it's better. And usually a really good bubble hash, if you go to a dispensary, in the old days in the medical dispensaries, I don't know what the new ones, that would be reflected in the price you pay for it. If you're gonna pay for a gram of top shelf bubble, I've seen it go for $80. And rightfully so. But it's got to be like just the most beautiful stuff with terpenes, all heads, no plant material. The gold, living gold.
I still think there's something to be said about that same gram that you're talking about right there. And nice worm and a supercharged a joint like that. To me, that's the best. Lay that worm right in the bed in the bed of your joint, smoke. That's top notch for me, my friend. I appreciate the dads and all that, but I've always appreciated the simplicity of a good hash, to be honest with you. I don't need to take a dab, break it around, like you're saying, break a little hunk off, throw it in a bowl, or supercharge the joint, man. It's perfect just the way it is. I think at some point we're just filtering out too much of, what is already a perfect a perfect thing. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, I think there's some of these artists that are taking some of those solvent extracts to the next level. I know Kind Selection in my country is one of the most decorated extract makers, but they also they do all kinds of extracts. They do BHO, but they also do bubble hash. They do dry sift. They dabble in a little bit of everything, but their main focus is diamonds. And it seems a lot of the market's gone to that. Really like their diamonds. I can see why. It's the strongest thing out there right now. Like, if you're looking for immediate, bam, I need to get really high. That'll do it.
So I'm curious to know when you'd like to see your cannabis harvested. I ask this because I think at some point what we just talked about has started to dictate a little more of harvest time, to be honest with you. The clear side of the trichome heads, to be honest with you, trying to get that terp flavor or maximizing the terps and stuff like that. But I don't think that necessarily equates to a properly harvest flower. I think that's being you're harvesting at that point for a certain purpose, which is extracts,
Yeah.
not necessarily a properly ripened flower. So when for a grower that you were kind of had under your wings and you wanted them to harvest for a good flower, when's your advice for harvest? Is it, you know, again, early on the earlier sides, or should, you know, let you're the master. Let's hear your explanation.
Well, it really depends what they're growing. I have a tendency not to grow sativas. Sativas want a little more time. You know, some of them are 10 and 12 weeks. I like indicas, and anything hybrids that are indica dominant. I want to get done between 8 and 9 weeks. That's my goal. And I figure if I'm going to grow some long flowering thing, let's say it's a 12-week, or I'm halfway into another crop. So it's kind of wasting time. If anything, you can take that sativa, cross it with one of the fast flowering indicas that I have, and we could probably bring that time down to, you know, we'll find it. We'll do a pheno hunt. We'll find that terpene profile, but in a faster flowering plant. We'll make a hybrid out of it. Yeah, I think it's wasting time. I know there's some people that are all about sativas, but I'm not that guy. But with that being said, I do have a lot of sativas in my stable, and I will make them available. But right now, for my medical thing, the strains I'm growing are pretty much what work for me. So I'm not going to mess with that. So, and 8 to 9 weeks kind of goes within my time frame. I usually, what I do is I have clones and plants that are ready, so I can literally just push the plants in and start flowering. So any longer, I'd be out of balance. I have limited space. But going into the farm situation, that's going to be quite different. We're going to have a lot of space, so maybe I'll make a sativa area. I can easily do that. But right now, it's hybrids and indicas. Sorry, sativa people. I know a lot of the older growers, they love the hazes for some reason. I'm not sure why. All I can equate that to is maybe that is more reminiscent of the cannabis they smoked when they first started smoking cannabis. So they yearn to have those flavors and tastes again, or those experiences again. I'm not sure. I'm guessing at that.
And again, I kind of think that a lot of these newer growers today live by the calendar too much, to be honest with you. It says day 60 on the pack. I gotta chop it down at day 60, not necessarily taking in, you know, other factors. You know, a lot of times 8 to 9 weeks is a good time factor, but when we're talking about like overall just kind of looking at your plant, you know, trichomes, stuff like that.
The real way is to go take a 30 times light scope and to examine it. But, you know, we use that as a way of weeding the long flowering ones out. Because if it hasn't done its thing and it's taken too long, I don't want any part of it. Sorry, it's my unnatural selection. But you know what? With unnatural selection like this, you do, it gives way to a certain kind of cannabis and even a certain strength. Because look what's happened here in Canada with legalization. We're having what we call a natural selection. So a lot of the cannabis that we used to enjoy that was below 20% isn't being grown because that just can't be sold in the legal market. And the funny thing about that is there's a lot of stuff that, from my earlier days, like AK-47, for example, it's 19.5% THC. You're not going to find that on the legal market because it's too low. They're all wanting 29, 25, 28, 29, into the 30s even. So what this unnatural selection is causing is people do pheno hunting and testing to find these higher THC strains. So we're going to find more and more and more of them, and these are going to be dominant in our legal market. So the future holds for Canada anyway, stronger cannabis and better cannabis. So just let the selection happen. And testing and legalization made this possible. But you know what? Hopefully a lot of these strains from, let's say yesteryear don't get lost, the lower THC ones, because they have value with terpenes. So, and you can make hash out of these quite easily. But, getting back to the exact ripeness, you should be looking at the trichomes and determining the ripeness by that, and use that as a guide to help you harvest. But that'll also be a guide to help you weed out those really long flowering things. If it's you're 10 weeks in and it's still clear, that's probably not one you want to be growing. And if you're looking at what it's producing, unless you got some love, because here, I'll give you an example. You ever heard of that? It's from Barney's Farm. Barney's Farm's got some great cannabis, but they have this one that's absolutely insane to grow, and it's great cannabis, but it takes a commitment. I think it's 12 or 14 weeks. It's called Dr. Grinspoon, and it's been named after Dr. Lester Grinspoon. And fantastic weed, doesn't produce a lot. It takes a long time to grow. I don't know. Doesn't sound very rewarding, does it? You have a room full of that. I don't know. It sounds like something I might grow one of. I smoked the weed, blew my mind. But everybody I know that's growing it, they reported this low yields and long flowering. So those aren't desirable traits. I want something that does it fast. Sorry.
I agree. You know, I've talked about that as well. It just doesn't make any sense when you can flip a room twice, have twice as much cannabis as, you know, some of these longer flower strains that you're just not going to get that, you know, especially if you were talking bringing it to market. You're just not going to get that much more out of that longer flower and sativa. Like I said, when you could have flipped a room almost twice, and you know what I mean, and made it just doesn't seem feasible for me.
But you know what? I know some people will grow it because they just love the strain and they love those kind of plants. And you know, they're not looking to make money; they're just looking to have the weed. You know, God bless those guys. We need you as growers too, because it can't all be about economics or about quick turnovers. But you know, unfortunately, I am focusing on this because what we're going to do is we're going to offer this to micros and LPs, and they're on timelines and they have to produce cannabis, quality cannabis, within a reasonable period of time. So, you know, right out the gate, I think I got 24 strains that we can offer them, you know, mothers in my stable, to people as soon as we're built. So hopefully spring, maybe early summer, we're going to be operational and we'll be able to share with everybody.
So I'm curious to know what kind of led up to putting the nutrient company out there. I mean, was it just you kind of came to that point to where you were growing amazing plants, but the cost of feed was killing you, or you just kind of you came up with a good system and you wanted to bring it to other folks? I mean, what kind of led to opening the doors of Remo Nutrients there?
Well, it's kind of funny. We figured we had a good system and we wanted to offer to other people. Absolutely. Actually, we were looking ahead at what was going to happen. We predicted that eventually it'd be legal, and we figured what would be relevant in legal grows is a clean input. So we tried to create a system that wasn't cumbersome with a lot of products that were kind of let's say stacker products, because what was happening in the industry, you know, a lot of these companies like General Hydroponics, Grow Tech, Advanced Nutrients, they'd have these huge programs with 18 or 20 different parts, and you needed them all to make the system work, and people are getting tired of that. So we tried to simplify it by having a 2-part base and only 4 additives. I mean, each one of our products aren't like a single thing. There's many components. For example, if I was to take my Velo kelp, which is our most popular product, it's not just kelp. Actually, it's 2 kinds of kelp. It's Pacific and Atlantic cold pressed kelp, so it's a liquid. And actually, the Pacific kelp is grown by this guy that we contract, and we take his entire kelp bed every time we harvest. We cold press it, and so it's unique to us. And then we add other things to it as well. So there's also a vitamin B1 in there, which really helps with plant stress, and the plants seem to love it, makes the plants comfortable. There's also humic and fulvic acid, which help with mineral uptake. There's also 0.6% orthosilicate. So if I was a present you this product compared to a lot of my competitors, they would have like 4 or 5 products to achieve the same thing. So I figured by condensing it all, I figure that's a lot more efficient. And having the clean input is huge, because if you look what's happening out there, like we're vegan line. I'd just like to let you know that that's one of the ways we've achieved this low heavy metals. But you look at what was being going on in their industry, there's been a lot of organics, and some of these organics aren't great. Let me take fish emulsion, for example. Here you have a fish that's swimming around the ocean. All it's doing is accumulating toxins, mercury, heavy metals. And then you harvest this fish. The good part of the fish, that goes to the food industry. And then the bad part of the fish, all the waste stuff, they make nutrient solution out of that. And then you feed this to your cannabis plants, your medicine. And what happens here is that the cannabis is kind of an accumulator plant. It sucks all that heavy metal up. Now, if you're testing, guess what shows up? The mercury in your plants now. This is a bad thing. So, we have no animal byproducts. I actually have a firm belief that if you're growing your medicine or cannabis, that it shouldn't grow in shit. Up until now, I know it works, but we're in modern times. We don't have to do that because there's problems when you use manure and animal byproducts, especially manure that's not properly composted. You can get things like listeria. People like to use eggshells. Well, sometimes if those eggshells are contaminated by salmonella, your plant has it because they like to put the eggshells, get the calcium into the thing. I know this is organic, but this is medicine. And the problem is if you give contaminated cannabis to a patient, you're in danger of getting that person sick. So I think we have to give them the cleanest possible. So I came up with this program, and this program isn't completely organic. I actually wrote 2/3 organic inputs, but plant-based organics. So we find that, to get the best production, it's you need the best of both worlds. You need some minerals, and you need some organic material. But with the organic material is where you get a lot of the flavors. So a lot of the terpenes come out with that. So that was our philosophy. Make a better tire. I think we've achieved that. And also the concentration of our products. It's a lot more concentrated than a lot of competitors because people, up until now, I think bottled nutrients and liquid nutrients have been getting a bad rap. And we came up with ours, and it's very concentrated. We're not selling you a bunch of water, but water is the best delivery system for fertigation system if you're doing commercial. It's just very easy, very clean to meter and monitor. Also, the other thing that a lot of other nutrient companies could have done and didn't do, use feed charts. And if you look at them, here, I'll take one example. They'll have like all these values, and there'll be like, let's say 15 or 18 different things. And these are your values week 1. Week 2 comes along, all the values change. Some of the products drop out, some new products come in. It's just a mismatch of everything. So if you got somebody that's trying to program the fertigation machine, it's very cumbersome. A lot of my competitors, they're not just all liquids, they have some powders that go in with that too. So that kind of becomes difficult. With mine, there's basically in flour, you're looking at six bottles. And what we did is we standardized all the strength of nutrients in the factory so that you could put the exact same amount of each thing in. So this becomes very easy for dosing. You just flatline it. And then when you get into mid flour, you start leaning, you can actually start giving it a little bit more astral flour and lean back on Magnifical. And then when you get towards the end of the flowering cycle, you can drop the Magnifical altogether. But it's very simple, and you can make these adjustments, and it's not rocket science where they had these very complicated charts. And when it's all flatlined like that as well, it's easier and for ordering. You can see how much you have, you can see how far you can go. So it's just we streamlined that and made it easier. And then the end results, if you look at the flour that's been grown with Remo nutrients, I think we've achieved the next level. We've been able to bring out the most that plant can produce in terms of terpene and production. So you get frosty buds that smell beautiful, that taste great, because the taste is everything. We don't try to actually, some companies have some terpenes that they try to introduce to the plant to make them terpier. I don't believe this. I believe enhancing the terpenes that the plant, produces itself. Actually have 3 amino acids that help with these terpenes. And also in the program, we have blackstrap molasses, which also makes your cannabis more terpene, but naturally, not with trying to add terpenes or mask it with something. I don't believe in that at all. So, I've tried some of these products out like that. And what I found out, they work, they're very effective, but I grew different 6 strains, and then they were all similar. They weren't unique anymore. So I feel that each cannabis, each strain that you grow should have unique terpenes, and they should all be different. And so with my plant food, it'll help those plants express those terpenes. How's that?
Well, again, I appreciate the fact that you're a grower as well as you're producing the nutrients. And another thing I appreciate about what you've done is you were transparent all through the process. When you were starting up the company, you showed the process, how you were making the nutrients, and you're willing to, stand by and talk about your product. And I think that's very admirable. Again, walking the walk. I think not just myself, but people in the cannabis community or life in general appreciate people like that are willing to, stand by their product and do, what their image is, basically. There's few people in there in the industry that do that. My friend Subcool, rest in peace. I miss you, brother. Was one like that. There's something about wanting to buy a product from somebody that is very reputable, showing you how to use their product and just being the person behind the product. Before you ever sold had a nutrients company, you were growing amazing plants. So
Thank you.
I have no question that, as a nutrient company, you wouldn't put forth anything that you would want to grow amazing plants with. You know what I'm saying? So I can actually believe that you would stand by anything that was going out that door, to be honest with you. So again, I appreciate the fact that you were a grower. You're still a grower in a nutrients company. You know what I mean? It isn't either or you know what I'm saying?
Thanks, Eagle. Thanks for all the compliments. It was awesome. Yeah, I was just looking at the time. I got to run to the office here. I got to do my Friday program. I think we talked about this before. Maybe I'll share this with everybody because this is an incentive to work for Remo Nutrients. What I do is I show up Friday mid-morning, which is going to be after this Zoom call we're doing here. And I'll have a number of different bags of cannabis on me. And everybody that showed up that day, because it's an incentive to show up on Friday, because some people like take Fridays off, everybody gets a bag of weed for the weekend. So it's a benefit we can actually put forth to our employees. I know all the other nutrient companies probably do not do that because they're not stoner. So, you got to appreciate the small things in life. I personally, I've always dreamt about a company that would give me weed every Friday. So, I'm trying to make that a reality for the people that are at my company. So God bless them all.
I sure in the hell don't want to stand in the way of anybody getting any free cannabis, especially Remo free cannabis. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for taking the time to come out, man. Another friend of mine, Med Grower One, always said you're just as real and a genuine, good person, off camera as you were on camera. And today you showed that was very much true. A very down-to-earth guy, willing to talk one-on-one, not just about products, but just to, be a part of the community. Says a ton about you, my friend. And I'm glad you take the time. It was an honor, man. I didn't ever think I was going to get this interview, but I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come hang out with me and my community. It definitely means a lot for me and them. And yeah,
My pleasure.
doing what you're doing. I've got shit tons of respect for you. I've learned a lot from you throughout the years in all the videos you put out. And
thanks for watching.
Again, thank you for helping the little guys, everybody getting to grow. It's very key to get overgrow the planet. The more people we get growing, the less likely they'll be to take it away from us in the long run. So
I agree.
Appreciate everything you do, brother.
Eagle, thanks for having me on. Also, if you ever come to Canada and you want to come visit us here, I have a room for you. You can smoke weed in my house. I have lots of cannabis. I can do a bag of weed. I'll take you a tour of Remo Farms, and I don't know, we'll enjoy some fine restaurants out here. So the invitation's out there. Come on down, or come on up. Actually, we're above you. Come on up. Hey, thanks for having me on your program.
One last thing, two last things. I'm gonna take a drink of this coffee. I got a terrible cotton mouth. All right. So this is the way the channel works, Remo. Is I try to do the one-on-one and get to know some people in the cannabis community and get to know them a little bit on the deeper level. But the Zoom link that I sent you, I also do like a panel type show that it's open to only past guests.
Okay.
Weed Nerd World. Anytime that you happen to stumble across a show that says Weed Nerd World, Monday and Wednesdays are Weed Nerd Worlds. If you ever want to kind of come hang out with the community, let us know what's going on and whatnot. We'd greatly appreciate it. You don't need no invite. Just kind of hit that link and come hang out.
I'll pop in for sure.
Completely awesome.
I'll come smoke a joint with you guys for sure, man. That'd be awesome. Can't wait.
That would be awesome. One last thing I'd like to get from you before you go is a silly thing I call the sound bite. It's like the old school radio identification. I'm sure you've done 100 of these, but what I'm looking for, my version is basically, hey, I'm Eagle and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 584. You can say whatever you want before, as long as you kind of say that, I would be greatly appreciated. Only part of the show I can record. I'm ready anytime you are, Mr. Remo.
So what's my line?
Basically, my version would be, hey, this is Eagle, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 584. You'd say whatever before or
that's
after,
easy.
as long as that's kind of...
Eagle, it's time to smoke a huge joint. That's simple.
Yeah.
So let's do it again. So it's perfectly
I'm ready.
for you. Okay, you ready?
Well, that's what I need you to say that, Mr. Remo. Basically, hey, this is Remo, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit.
Oh, okay. You want me to say that?
Yeah.
And what episode? 584?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, folks, it's Urban Remo, and what? Do it again.
I fucked it up. I'm sorry. I was just saying I was ready.
Okay. Hey, folks, it's Urban Remo, and I'm on Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 584. You know what time it is? It's time to smoke a huge joint.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Remo.
No problem.
Have an amazing weekend, and I can't thank you again for hanging out with me. What an honor. That's all I can say. What an honor.
You as well.
Enjoy your
blaze
weekend,
again, man. We'll blaze again.
Right on.
All right, have a great day.
You too. Thank you guys for tuning in for this early episode of fucking Talking Shit with Eagle. Hopefully you guys know the deal. Do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. I'll see you tonight, 11:30. I am